Good morning. Happy Saturday. Last night I got home from work, and I hope you guys are staying cool out there. It is this heat's been unbearable. I mean, it's been hot, but you know I have fond memories with Metroid Prime. Because when I got the GameCube, uh, my little boys that stay with. I wish I could have had all five of my kids. I know I speak of my three boys. I have five. I have one I didn't know of, and then my daughter. She couldn't. At that time, I was struggling. I didn't have a car, so she lived like 2 hours, about 2 to 3 hours away, and yeah, no, actually, she lived about 3 hours away, 4 hours away, so she couldn't come. I didn't get to see her on the weekends. That's why I don't talk about them too that much. And then but my three boys, I remember they figured out how to beat this game on the GameCube. So the other day I seen that Nintendo had that Nintendo Direct, and I kept sitting there going, see, for me, we all been waiting on Metroid Prime. And I know I have. And I don't talk about Metroid Prime that much because I just don't. And I remember when I bought Zelda for the Switch, and Zelda was just this hyped up game and everything like that. And then I was talking to this engineer at work, and he played Zelda and I played Zelda, but I just stopped playing Zelda. I just I don't know. I get why people like that game so much, but I remember getting that game and getting the Switch and all that, and hearing all the hype about Zelda and stuff. But I always said in the back of my mind, I always said in the back of my mind, I said, Metroid Prime is the game for me that is the game like people look at Zelda, Breath of the Wild. And I remember getting that, and it was so hyped up and all this, and there's so much to do and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I remember when it first came out. There's random thoughts that enter your head. I kept saying, man, Metroid Prime ever come out with a banger? That's the game that's gonna just you know be the game. Because that there was a lot of us that just like for me, I was in my early 40s when I first seen this game. You know what I mean? When I first seen this game, but it's because I bought it for my boys, and we had that like I told you guys, the GameCube was the first thing in the house. They were little, so I think by them slapping that door down so much it stopped reading. But they beat that game, and I remember I was cooking dinner because I was always busy. I was always busy. And I was like working all those jobs, getting them every other weekend. I was kind of bummed out. I couldn't get my daughter because she was my firstborn. I was going through a lot, man. I was trying to raise them, and then I got them on the weekends, and then I remember I walked in their little room because they were powered up in the little room, and I remember all three of them was laying down and they was looking through the book, and they was trying to figure. I was like, "What are you guys doing?" They said, "Oh, we're trying to." They was trying to figure out how to beat this game, and they beat this game. And I have fond memories with Metroid Prime. Of course, Nintendo Direct had a couple. I think it was a couple years ago, 3 years ago, when they had that Metroid Prime remastered. They just threw it out there. They didn't tell anybody they was remastered. It was like a surprise. But so anyway, I last night, I was watching. Uh, I didn't watch the Nintendo Direct, and so I was like, I kept saying, I did say to myself, "Wow, Nintendo Direct." I wonder what kind of, you always do that. Anybody that follows video games, you're like, I wonder what kind of games they're gonna drop, because Nintendo, man, they just sit by themselves. They really do. They sit by themselves. They ain't worried about Sony and Microsoft. That's one thing I do like about Nintendo. Whatever's working for them, they're just sticking to it. You know what I mean? So. Uh, so anyway, I was sitting there, and I was sitting there last night, and I was like, yeah, I seen it said Metroid Prime. It said Metroid Prime 4 or Beyond. I was like, oh man, you gotta be kidding me, because I always kept saying, man, even when they was making such a big thing out of the new Zelda game, everybody said the new Zelda game that just came out is better than the other Zelda game that came out. And I see the brilliance in it, and I see why people like that game so much. But I always said in the back of my mind, even though it's nostalgia for me, because of the fact that I was in my early 40s when my boys was little, and they came down every other weekend, and we got that first, you know, the system was the the GameCube, and they got that Metroid Prime, and I remember once in a while I play it, but you gotta understand I was working a lot, so I couldn't play video games like when I was working. I had a bad hip that needed replaced. I was still working out. I was still riding my bike. I was still working out. I was still riding my bike, but I had a hip that just needed seriously replaced. And I was working at a restaurant, and I was working at my factory job, and I was trying to, I had all these junky cars, and every now and then I try to play that game, and I remember looking at that game, and I just thought that game was so neat looking, and so just, I don't know, I felt like, I just like, what's going on here? What is this? And who is that person in that suit? And I remember my boys was like, Dad, there's a woman inside that suit. And I was like, huh? I think there was a woman inside that suit. They said, it's a woman, Dad, it's a woman. I'll never forget them saying, I said, really? They go, yeah, because I never knew who was up under that suit, man. It was so cool when they told me that. Man. But anyway, so Metroid Prime 4, I just happened to look at the reactions of some of the people, right? So you got to understand, a lot of those people were probably some of my boys' age and maybe a little older that had a connection. And, I was watching all the reactions of some of the people that was watching Nintendo Direct, and they were so happy because they've been waiting on this, because if you remember, it was, I don't know how long it's ago, but you remember they scrapped the first Prime that they was doing because they didn't like it. They scrapped it, and I think they got rid of the people that was making that game and went to somebody else. But I tell you what, I didn't do nothing to have a big smile on my face, because everybody makes a big deal about, I got Zelda Breath of the Wild, but I don't play it. I played it, and I kept, I don't know, I just couldn't. But Metroid Prime, it's just the way that I like how you shoot the gun. I love that suit. It's just something about that, the way the suit was made, and it never revealed. I don't think there's any talking, and that's another thing I like about that. And it's just, God, it was such a good game. And I haven't even opened this yet. I just had to put it in my collection, but it just brings back memories, when I had my boys every other weekend, and I remember they beat this game, and they got together and beat this game. And I just remember being so fascinated by the suit and the way it was designed, and just Metroid Prime. And then the way that, when you played the game, you could make it roll. It rolled, how it changed and just rolled through things. And then the shooting and all that stuff. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. This. I know everybody talks about Breath of the Wild, and I got Breath of the Wild. I did, because it was so hyped up. I was like, oh man, I need to check this out. I wonder what's going on, And then when I played it, I was like, I kept trying to play it, and I'm just gonna play it. I'm not gonna sit there and say ain't nothing wrong with it. I don't have the. I don't know. I didn't have the. And I talked to this engineer. Now this engineer, man, he's about 38. And he has 3 little boys, and it's just funny when I listen to him talk about his 3 little boys. It's just so funny that I used to be him, and he's like, oh man, he said I beat the game. He says, but I just felt like it was just too long, and I felt like it just he thought it was overhyped. He never put the game down, but he just thought it was overhyped, and he just thought that there was just way too much. He goes to get tired of breaking the sticks or something like that. I said, yeah, I remember there's a lot of breaking sticks and all that. I said, man, I told him, I said, his name is Adam. I said, Adam, I just checked out. I said, I know that game is good, and I know I can see why people really get into that game, but always in the back of my mind, it was always, this game, to me, is what, and I truly think this game's coming out when the new system's going to launch, because it said 2025. So you remember in the video I said that I was only buying one game, and that is Astrobot? That's the only game I'm buying this year is Astrobot. This is 2024. 2025, better bet your sweet, sweet, sweet selves. This game I'm buying. And I ain't buying that new Nintendo Switch. I can't see dropping money on another Switch when I don't hardly play this one. The graphics on this is just fine. I'm playing it for fun. And I'm quite sure they're not going to just make Metroid Prime 4 Beyond just for the Switch 2. But I guarantee you it's going to come out right when that Switch 2 drops. So actually, it's pretty slick how they're doing it. So, yeah. But anyway, to sum this up, I was watching trailer reaction to some of the people out there, and I ain't gonna lie. I just smile. I smile because I understand how they feel, man. I do understand how they feel because it was always in the back of my mind, man. So what's up with Metroid Prime? You know, I know a lot of people say, "Hey, you ever play those other Prime games?" I needed something to go right with this, and those other ones were, you got that one called Metro. I don't know, the one where there's a bunch. I think there's a few Metro Prime games, but they're not like a direct sequel to this game. I don't think. You know what I mean? So those games never really grab me. You know. So anyway, I watched trailer reaction yesterday. It was last night, and I was thinking about watching a movie. Actually, I was going to watch Law and Order, or I was going to play a video game. I decided to watch the reaction. It was I just put a big smile on my face because I felt it. I felt how they felt, man, because they've been waiting. Because I looked at some of the age groups in here. You know, some people probably, maybe there was a few people that might have been my age. Most likely, no. Most of the people are probably around my kids' age or a little older. And I was watching their reaction, and they was jumping up and down, yelling and screaming. Some guys showed them sitting in the chair, and he was like, "No, no, no." But man, when I seen that ship come up across that horizon and land, and then Metroid came out, yeah. I hope they don't change. I hope they stick to the formula, man. Don't change nothing. Don't do anything with this current world that we're living in, man. Just stick to what works, because I don't think there's any talking at all, period. I don't think there's no talking in this game at all. If I ain't mistaken. So anyway, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. When I watch those people, man, their reaction, because I watched like maybe 5, 6, maybe about 10, 15 minutes of all these people reacting, and I get it because it's just so weird because I always sat in the back of my mind, it's like, man, when's Metroid Prime gonna drop? And I said, because I don't blame the Nintendo company because they know that game is near and dear to a lot of people's heart. And it's near and dear to mine due to the fact I watched my boys play. And then when I played, when I had time, I used to play. I couldn't play it well because I was like, oh, this is pretty neat. And I'd play in the shooting and just the way it felt and the stuff. And it's just the world it was in. And it's just, yeah, I remember that game all so well. It had such an impact on me just watching it and looking at it and the stuff, the way the kids was trying to play it, and they beat that game. And then they told me, "Dad, it's a girl. There's a girl up under that suit." They told me there was a woman up under that suit. I said, "Really?" I walked in, I said, "Wow, there is a woman. Wow, that's crazy." And that's all we thought. It's just, wow. So yeah, 2025. Better bet, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. And I hope Nintendo don't bring it out until it's done because they scrapped the first one that they was making because they didn't like the way it looked. Because they know that a lot of people, Metroid Prime is near and dear to a lot of people. It had such an impact on a lot of people when they were younger. And people like me, it was that was watching their kids play. And so, we don't want something that's not going to be up to snuff with this. Because even when they, a few years back when they said we're dropping Metro Prime Remastered, I was like, I snatched it up in a heartbeat because see, I no longer have my Nintendo GameCube. So yeah, so it's just fond memories. I might pop this in one day and play it, but I played it back in the day, and I can see why my boys loved it. But anyway, you guys, God bless and take care. Stay cool out there. Some of you that's in these hot belts. I don't know how many places is getting, hit with this heat wave, but I know we are. So anyway, I just, man, I watched that. I just smiled at everybody's reaction because I understand. I totally understand, man. Anyway, God bless. Take care. 2025. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. And I'm definitely buying that. It's like I told you guys, I'm slowing down on buying on video games because I just am, because it's just, I don't want to buy any games. And I want to beat the games I already got. And I want to concentrate on the games I got. I got so many incomplete games, it's not even funny. We'll catch you later. God bless.